Hi, my name is Trent, and I can teach your child how to read. When you think about it, when a child reads, they're really just accessing somebody else's thoughts that have been put down on paper. Because really, all reading and writing is capturing speech and language onto a page or onto a screen. So when you think about it, all of reading and writing and spelling, it's really just speech and language foundations. So who better to have working with your child if they have difficulties with reading than a speech and language expert? As a speech-language pathologist, there's a lot that we really tap into when we're working with children. We help them say the words properly. We get them really thinking about every sound, feeling how that sound feels in their mouth, and pronouncing the sounds accurately. Then what we do is we get kids to match the letters down on paper, put those letters down that match the sounds that they're saying in the words that they know. When we do it that way, what we're doing is we're activating the visual processing area of the brain as they look at letters and words. We're activating the sound processing area of the brain, and we're accessing the language or the meaning area of the brain. And what research shows us is that these three areas of the brain all need to activate really robustly and accurately when kids are looking at words, but then these three areas all need to communicate. And that's often the piece that's missing for slow or struggling readers or children with learning disabilities. A lot of the interventions, a lot of the instructions that we use at school, for instance, maybe only focus on one of those areas. So if you think about a child that's doing sight words, they're looking at a flashcard, they're activating their visual memory of the word, and then they try to read the word out loud. They're not sounding it out and activating that sound processing. They're also not really talking about the meaning of the word to activate that meaning. Similarly, when we give our children spelling lists to study for their spelling tests, they're maybe writing that word out 10 times. Again, lots of activation of that visual processing. Maybe using the word in a sentence, they might be activating some of that meaning, but then what's missing is the sound processing. So what we want are functional, integrated tasks where we're going to be activating all three of those areas and then getting those three brain areas to communicate together. And that's what we do in our therapy, in our instructional approach. The other thing that we're doing is we're using a lot of strategies. We find that strategies really give children some hooks. They make things tangible. They're memory placeholders. It gives them something that they can apply. And what I often see happens is that when children have a strategy and then they use it, they find that they can independently have some success. And that creates hope. And from hope, kids develop confidence. And that's what I love about the work that I'm doing. We're really engaging our readers, our learners with multisensory engaging activities. It's hands-on, and they're discovering that they're capable, that they can, and that confidence comes along. And it's really, really cool. I'm really happy with the work that we're doing. I think it's so engaging. I love working with new kids, going to look at their learning profile, figuring out what part of their brain is working really well around literacy that we can leverage and use, what parts are missing, what are some holes that we can go to work on, and then we give them these strategies, we show them how to use them, we show them how to read, we show them how to spell, we watch them blossom, we really unlock potential for our kids, we're really raising that ceiling. Whatever our kids were destined to do, we're removing those barriers that are in place. And it's really, really cool. And I think the part that's really great is that we're always using the speech-first approach. When kids approach a word on a page that they don't know, they're really working through that visual processing. Maybe they're trying to sound it out, but they're not getting a robust activation in that brain. They're not figuring out what the word means. Whenever we work from the speech-first approach, we talk about words, we talk about what it means, boom, that area is activated. We sound it out, we get really clear on saying all of the syllables and all of the sounds. We sequence it out. Boom, sound processing activated. Now we sequence all of the sounds down on paper, we match the letters or the letter patterns that go with the sounds that we're saying in that sequence. Now we get a nice visual image of the word spelled accurately that's connected to the meaning and the sounds. The speech-first approach, nobody else is doing it. You're leveraging biology. Our brain has a speech and a language center built into the brain. There's no letter sound, there's no letter processing area in our brain. The brain needs to actually specialize and adapt other areas of the brain in order to be able to process letters. What we want to do is we want to connect those specialized areas and help those areas specialize and adapt by connecting them to the sound and the language areas that are present in the brain right from birth. Even in the womb, children are already starting to learn about the sound structure of our language. So that's what a speech-language pathologist can bring to the table when we're looking at a kid who can't read. All of our spelling and our writing, it's governed by patterns and rules, grammar patterns, how words are formed, where you're allowed to use letter combinations and where you're not. All of that is governed by linguistic rules. Having a really strong background in grammar that you can then teach children the rules and the exception to the rules. Not only do they learn the letter-sound correspondence, the alphabetic principle, but then they learn how to build words. and they learn when do you use which word. When do words change? You know, a word like sign and signature. It has the same root. Why do the sounds change? We go to work on that kind of stuff. We look at adding affixes and suffixes. What does that do for a word? How come it's hop, but then in hopping there's two P's? Well, there's rules around that. There are linguistic rules governing that. A multilinguistic approach, it's going to give your child access to all of these unwritten, hidden things that they can't access. You know, these unspoken rules that other kids seem to pick up just from pattern recognition, from a brain that's adapted and ready for it. When the brain's not ready for it, you got to go back in and explicitly teach it. And that's what we do. Our lesson plans are super structured, systematic, explicit. We give kids everything they need to know. So I invite you, come to the webpage. Come for a second opinion. Come talk about how your child is learning. Come show me the assessments that have been done before. Come talk about what new assessments we could do. We can look at your child's learning profile and we can create an individualized plan. See, that's what we're up to. That's what we're all about. Every kid learns differently. So you have to teach every kid differently. And that's why we don't have a program. What we have instead are a multitude of different approaches, you know. We use these strategies and we look at what patterns don't they know, which linguistic elements are missing, what's going on in their speech, which area of the brain is activating and not activating. We make a learning profile, we make a plan that fits, we go in, we teach what's missing, we have a free consultation. A free consultation for you to come in, talk about your child. We'll sit down, we'll look at what the learning plan is, the learning profile is. We'll make a learning plan moving forward. It's free, it's comfortable, it's easy. I'll ask you a few questions. I'll be sure to answer all of your questions. And when we're done, I think you're going to learn something about how your child learns. So I invite you, get in contact. You can book a consultation on our webpage. You can read through the webpage and the blog and learn a little bit more. I invite you to call or email if you have questions. I really look forward to seeing you soon. I get really excited meeting new students. I can't wait to see what's available for your child. And I just really encourage you to be a strong advocate and empower yourself, educate yourself to make empowered decisions for your child's future. Thank you for listening. Enjoy the rest of the page, and we'll see you soon. Thanks.